This video is brought to you by Kempower, the reliable, quick, and scalable EV charging solution for everyone and everywhere. And this video is also brought to you by StarCharge, the largest EV charging manufacturer in the world. They are also a provider of residential and commercial battery storage with microgrid solutions.
Welcome to the Rivian R2 reveal. There's a whole lot riding on this platform, and we're about to find out everything we've been dreaming to find out. There's been a lot of leaks, but now we're going to get the actual facts. So join me for basically the unveiling. I know a lot of you couldn't be here, so I'm going to try to capture the experience as much as they allow me to film and bring you along for the ride. So let's go inside.
A huge thanks to Kempower for sponsoring this episode. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Kempower chargers for many reasons, but ultimately I love their flexibility and scalability. Essentially, they have rack-powered DC chargers, which means, especially in a lot of fleet customers, you have power limitations when chargers first go in, and then site upgrades can take a while. So you can put in a full rack to handle DC charging capability. You can put in maybe 200 or 300 kilowatts and then expand as you get more power capacity to your site. Uber flexible. The way Kempower works is you have your main AC-DC rectifiers that are unbelievably reliable in an off-board cabinet, and then satellites that you can place up to 80 meters away. I mean, really far away, you can put these satellites. Really awesome stuff. It's fantastic for fleet use. It's fantastic for actually even mining use deep underground. If you're an OE looking to test in harsh environments, for example, you got to make sure your car's charged in the coldest climates. You need the toughest charging solutions, and of course, that's going to be Kempower. So huge thanks to them for sponsoring this video. You should definitely check them out if you're looking for high-powered DC fast charging.
So, after coming inside, we saw the R2 unveil, which was expected. And actually, so there were some leaks right before this. I was so excited going into this launch because there was so much happening as far as leaks, and there's so much riding on this. By the way, this is Talik. I ran to him, and Patrick and Liv are here. There's so many people here. It's super fun. It's like a huge family reunion. And there's the 3 trucks. But we saw leaks. Trucks, yeah. They're getting smaller and smaller. I was hoping they'd bring out like a Miata at the end, a Roadster. But we saw leaks, not only some confirmed, but then some over-promised. Or I don't know, promised. I don't know about over-promised, but the pricing as a leak was like $47,500. Now we find out the R2 starts at 45 grand.
Yeah.
Now, we don't know. It's a win. And that's before tax credits, presumably, which means in Colorado, you're looking at low 30s. Assuming the tax credits are the same.
Yeah.
As we know, tax credits keep changing. Things keep changing. We're about to go into election year. So by the time this comes out, which by the way is early 2026, that's 2 years away for our math people out there.
Early. For the R2. We don't know about the R3 yet.
For the R3 and R3X, we don't know. So RJ literally did the Apple thing, the one more thing thing.
He did it twice.
And he did it twice. He did one more thing, and then he did one more thing X.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at R2, R3, and R3X. We don't know timing. We don't know prices. All we know is what the R3 kind of looks like. So we're going to walk down there in just a second, but R2 is the focus, and that's 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. For the top trim one, presumably, and they said 300 miles of range. They said all drivetrains were capable of that.
Rear, dual, and tri are going to have 300 miles.
They said all drivetrains are capable of that, but does that mean the cheapest one will be capable of that? We don't know. because they could have a cheaper one. That $45,000 one may be under 300 miles. I hope not, because by 2026, I feel like that's going to be the minimum people are going to be cross-shopping for.
They also said the R3X is going to be a tri-motor performance.
Yes.
That's exciting.
But what's cool is all three of these trucks in front of us are going to come with tri-motor, which is nuts. We kind of expected these to be dual motor.
Yeah.
But I'm impressed to be tri-motor. So, I don't know. Let's go take a look.
Let's go.
So now we're down on the ground, and Talk and I can barely hear each other. So hopefully you can hear us with these microphones. We basically can't go inside them. We can't even touch them. I mean, people are touching them clearly, but it's chaotic. It's a zoo, but it's really cool. It's cool to see so many people here, so excited. It was amazing. Talk, do you realize how long people applauded when RJ walked out on stage?
Oh my God.
He's a very popular CEO, I think.
Yeah.
But we're gonna take a look here and see what we can figure out. First of all, new wheel designs on all the models they showed today, which is pretty awesome. Very Rivian-esque. I mean, they're kind of keeping within their design ethos, which is no surprise. When the R2 leaks kind of showed themselves, everyone was like, oh, it looks just like an R1S. That's kind of boring. But a lot of people saw that as a pro. It's a great design language. Don't fix it if it ain't broke. They've got their like headlight thing. So I think it looks fine. It is just scaled down. Dimensions-wise, it is very close to, actually surprisingly close to a 4Runner, a little bit shorter than an Outback, a little bit bigger than a Bronco Sport, a little bit designed similar to a Bronco Sport if you ask me. I was hoping between like Bronco Sport and Ford Edge, and I think Ford Flex. I think we kind of got there a little bit.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, what do you think of the design?
I think
Surprised?
the R2 to me feels very, very similar to the R1.
Yeah.
For me, the R3
That's the difference.
is the newest shape and a little bit more sleek.
Yeah. All right, here's where you can see really the size. I mean, R2 or R1, I'm like not near as tall as like at the top. And this is just like, I could see over the top of it. It's super weird. No air suspension on these, and so you don't have to worry about the ride height changing. This is just how tall it is. And this back is awesome. I am so ready to car camp in this thing. The back window does roll down. You 4Runner fans are going to love that. And the side windows also vent, which is super cool. So a lot of little attention to detail things, even the fact that they have the flashlight in the door still, which I'm guessing is still using an R1 battery cell, not the R2, which is all new cells.
Right. Yeah.
That would be really cool if they had an R2 battery cell, just a big
That'd be
honking
a giant flashlight. A 46,
would
what,
love-
95 you said? 4695?
4695, I think it was,
Yeah.
yeah. So, R2, here's the badge. I mean, it's really like a generational thing. A lot of people are wondering like, oh, is R2 just smaller R1? But no, there's a lot of things under the hood, pun intended, I guess under the body, skateboard platform jokes, whatever you can do with those, that's showing that it's a lot more new than just a smaller R1X. The R2 is actually like new batteries. We're looking at, I think, new drivetrain stuff. Like, there's still a lot of specs being brought out to the public right now, so we just don't know everything. But for an initial first look, this is your fun and games adventure in the launch, the unveil. I mean, this is how chaotic some of these things are. But it's super fun to see everyone around here. Everyone's having a good time. Everyone's cheering every time they mention things on stage. So, oh my gosh, I can't even talk. Let's actually flip around and talk to the R3, because that is the one more thing surprise that kind of blew people's minds. Looks basically the same R2 fascia, and I don't know exactly how different it will be size-wise. I kind of want to like measure, at some point I'm going to get a tape measure out and see how different everything is.
Yeah.
They didn't mention front capacity, they didn't mention any of the storage capacities, but that might be on their site by now. You know, I can throw them on the screen if we know by the time this goes up, which is basically going to be today. We're just like doing this all raw in the moment.
He opened all of them though, right? He kind of showed.
He opened all the spaces, nothing was hidden. He opened the doors up. It was a really cool live stream. I might actually go back and watch it just because people could probably see some more than we could up in the grandstands. But yeah, it's exciting. I don't know, I was just in the Cadillac Lyric yesterday, no front at all. And it's like the world's longest hood. So their defense is like, oh, people aren't used to it. But maybe people aren't used to the front because it's not that common, but now it's becoming more common. I think people really do want it.
Yeah.
If we can get around the side of this, I mean, this is where you'll see the differences. The wheels are different, which is cool. Similar design ethos. And the back is actually a coupe-like slope-back thing. When this came out on stage, my immediate thought was Ioniq 5 design language. like Ioniq 5 and Rivian R1S had a baby, and this is it.
Yeah, somewhere behind all of these people.
Yeah, let's go over here. We can actually look at the R3X, which was their one more thing, their two more thing. The orange accent is super cool. Maybe that'll be a future thing that Rivian does. These wheels are awesome. The orange accents could be future-proofing Rivian to actually use that and reserve that for all their performance stuff down the road. What other X models will we see? But I love the orange accents, the orange mirror caps. This color is really cool. And they said they did a lot of exercising with different interior fit and finish and feel. Like they went crazy with it. They had fun. They called it like the Rivian part. I don't know. Do they have a word for it? They just like avant-garde, just go for it. And they had some fun. So we might be able to sneak in here and see what's inside. But you can see like the seats with the metal accents. Of course, the top little hole in the seat is orange, just like the outside. Oh, it's like a cork dash. That's kind of Mazda MX-30 vibes, which is cool. And also, this is even noticeably shorter than the R2. Like, Jordan for scale, this is about where I'm at. So that's pretty crazy. And yeah, this just feels so small, and it has such great proportions. Like, I think it looks better down here than it did up at the top when I was like holding out on stage.
Yeah.
These proportions are fantastic. It is very hot hatch vibe. In fact, this is like hot hatch Lancia rally vibe.
It's kind of like a beefy, Kia Sportage or something.
Yeah, I keep thinking Lancia or something. Lancia Delta Integrale.
Check out this taillight.
That's pretty cool taillight. That's the design language of these three cars, at least what we can see right now. We're definitely going to have more time with them in the future. In fact, in a little bit here, I think they're going to clear out the room. We might have some more space. But as an initial walk around, literally minutes after these were unveiled, rolled onto the stage, you're getting a first look. It was kind of crazy seeing the R2 came out. Everyone was expecting that. RJ first started out talking about like, oh, we're going to do charging network stuff, like just general Rivian updates. And then finally, the R2 rolled forward, which left room for a second car. Mm-hmm. And then the stage was awkwardly imbalanced. And I was like, oh, they're going to bring out a third car, aren't they? So I'm super stoked they did. The sweet roof spoiler too. Yeah, there's a lot of things we can hopefully look at on this thing in a little bit here. Maybe. We'll see. You guys are literally unveiling or following this day as we're going through it. So I don't know what to expect for the rest of the day. And they're kicking us all out in a couple hours. So we'll see, but welcome to your first look at the new Rivian lineup. Not replacing R1, it's just adding to it. So, news in late was actually somewhat negative with Rivian. They had a lot of layoffs recently, or at least 2 rounds or so this year alone. So a lot was riding, like I said, on this R2 unveil. I think they, in some ways, nailed it out of the park because they brought out the R2, but then they brought out the one more thing and the one more thing, which is good, but... And they undercut the pricing. They overcut the rumors of some of the statistics, the specifications, but it's also still 2 years out from R2, and even more. It's just, all they said when we asked is like after R2.
Yeah. How many vehicles are going to be compelling, similar spec vehicles coming out between now and the time that the R2 comes out?
Yeah, there's a lot of competition that's already out there. I mean, the crossover space is already hugely growing and somewhat oversaturated, if you ask me.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I really like these options, but timeline is sketchy. And that's a good value, I think, 45 grand before tax incentives. I'm glad they didn't mention tax incentives on the stage because who knows if those are still going to be there for 2 years. But they said they're working on, like, they want it to be fully covered if there are tax incentives.
Yeah.
So, being built in Normal and then possibly eventually Georgia, at least they said R2 will be able to be functioning off the assembly line purely based out of Normal, Illinois. So we don't have to wait for later things on that.
Yeah, we just really don't know when the R3 is going to come.
Yeah.
And, and also the R3X. Is it going to be another year, another 2 years for the R3X?
But it is funny being here. Everyone is like, as you can tell, we're up here, it's a little quieter. Everyone is just hovering around this R3 like nothing. R2 still gets attention, but it's like R3 kind of stole the show, even though R2 is more important. But arguably, both are extremely important because they've had R1 for a while now. They're selling, they're praised, but it's still not enough to keep the company, per se, floating.
Yeah.
I don't know about their margins are, but it's not a high volume seller that they need.
I think the magic of the R2 is going to be under the skin because it gets you a lot of the styling of the R1, but you're going to be able to get a better starting price, more affordable drive options, you know, the new battery architecture underneath. So if you want something like an R1, but it's a little bit cheaper with maybe a little bit more performance, or at least compelling performance for the price, R2. But if you want something for the city, the R3 might be the one you're waiting for.
Yeah. So I don't know. Both are compelling. We're gonna try to get down there, spat some more in a little bit here, but it's chaotic. But that's an event right there, a big event, and people are very excited to be here. I've seen much less exciting unveilings.
Yeah, that's definitely very obvious here. Is that people aren't leaving. They want to talk about these vehicles, and it is exciting. That's probably the number one word.
And
exciting.
RJ is just mingling in the crowd. He got so much applause when it came out. He didn't use the teleprompter for anything. Yeah. I have a lot of respect for that guy, and I think a lot of other people do too. Like, he's clearly a well-liked CEO, whereas Elon is well-liked and hated. RJ is just like chilling. So back down on the floor, I found Ben with the Sierra Nevada Rivian Club. How many of you guys come to these events?
It's a mix, but we have people from the clubs from all over the nation, from the East Coast to West Coast, so
that's
we
awesome.
all converged on this.
Yeah, these events are like Rivian owners, Rivian enthusiasts, journalists, of course, and engineers, a lot of people. So what are your thoughts on the R2?
I love it.
That's like the Halo car today.
Yeah, I mean, my wife drives a Model Y, and I would call it a Model Y killer. Like,
would you kill the Model Y for this?
I want to. I mean, so we just moved to the Sierra Nevada. And we got 49 inches of snow.
Yeah.
My wife's super concerned, even though we got snow tires on the Model Y.
Yeah.
She's super concerned about it turning into a sled.
Yeah.
And so
you got more ground clearance with this.
Yeah, so I'm like, R2 is coming, and she's like, no, we don't need another car.
Yeah, that's great.
No, the R3 and R3X threw me for a loop because like when that happened, I was like, this is reminiscent of like a Steve Jobs level one next thing.
Yeah, one more thing. And everyone's excited for R2, but then that was like a whole new thing.
Yeah.
But man, I hope you get your R2.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think everyone wants it after this. All right, so Zach from Jerry Rig Everything here, not Jerry. How many people call you Jerry, by the way?
So many.
Okay,
So many people.
I figured.
I answered everything.
So what are your thoughts on the R2?
I'm a really big fan of it. I mean, if you think about like the best-selling vehicles in the world, they're not large, massive SUVs. They're like mid-size, family vehicles that fit within stalls in a parking lot. And they're the best-selling vehicles in the world. So it's super awesome that Rivian now has a vehicle that fits in that slot. So that they can become one of the best-selling vehicles in the world.
That's true. I think this one's going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, I do wish the top and like the windows and stuff would come off like a Jeep. Like I think that would have been so cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like there's the safety ratings and the complexity, and that would add in much more cost. So I'm a huge fan of how it came out.
I was really hoping like the R3X was going to be more of that like Bronco Jeep competitor, but who knows what else they'll put out.
It's more like a Mini Cooper. Like what's that one video where they like steal the gold in that one? You know what I'm talking about?
No.
Italian Job.
Oh,
it's like a vehicle in Italian Job with just like gold bars in the back. Like I could totally see that happening with an R3X.
You're right. That would be sweet. Yeah, it looks kind of Bionic 5 Mini. Like I think Mini is in the boardroom right now, being like, "What do we do, guys?"
Yeah.
But what do you think of the timeline on this? I mean, 2 years out.
2 years
That's
is such a long time.
A lot.
Such a long time.
So right now, all the specs look good, but I mean, what else could change in the competition?
Valid point. But I mean, there really is, besides Tesla, there really is no other competition in the space. And so I feel like Rivian is still primed to just take over the market.
Yeah. And now how many artists are going to put the article's going to have Tesla killer on the title of this article?
Aptly titled. I think everything should have that. Like, honestly, I would pick the R2 over a Model Y any day.
He also picks Android over iPhone, so
100%. Take that as you will. Take that as you will.
Cheers. All right, I've got Jose here with Rivian Tracker.
What's up, guys?
What are your thoughts on the R2?
Holy cow. R2, phenomenal vehicle. Pre-ordered it immediately.
You were probably the first. Like, you were there on Twitter.
952. I got it. We're a one-car household. We have an R1T, and but the wife loves the R2. Yep. I want to get it, for myself to play with as well. So that's definitely going to happen, and awesome. I'm excited. I was talking to Wasim, the VP of software for Rivian, and he's super excited about the software coming into the vehicles and all that. And a lot of this is going to be transitioned into the R1 line as well.
Yep.
So that's really, really exciting. So, it's just going to be more fun things to post and talk about, and I'm excited. And excited to get without a spec and do some content when these come out.
Yeah, we'll do R2 everything, and then R3 and R3X eventually. But this is the current thing dangling in front of us.
Yes.
It is 2 years away. Does that feel like a long time for you?
Yes, it does. But I will say I'm glad that they decided to rearrange some of their normal factory lines to help with this, because I do think 2026 is a long time away in car term.
Yep.
But I do, my fingers crossed personally, I hope we see it towards the end of 25.
Yep.
I think we'll maybe start seeing some early deliveries then. But I think it's smart because R1 is a great line of products.
Yeah.
But the R2 is going to sell like hotcakes.
Yeah, and you're right. They could under-promise and over-deliver, which would be great for them.
Right. and that starting price point is amazing. Minimum 300 miles of range on all 3 trims.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's going to sell great. So I'm excited.
Same. All right, Scott from Rivian Dad here, who I ran into at the airport and now I ran into at the Rivian
on the same
thing.
flight as me.
I figured you'd be here. Rivian R2, big news of the day. What's your thoughts and feelings?
Well, really, first of all, the R3 was the big news of the day because nobody knew it was coming, right?
They did the one more thing,
But the R2, I'm a little surprised it's bigger than I thought it was going to be. I thought it might be a little more compact, but I think it's actually a good size.
Yeah, agreed.
Because it's still not too big to like outgrow my garage, but at the same time, it's big enough to where you can like fold all the seats down. I love that the front seats fold down. That's incredible.
Yeah, special.
And then
feature,
you can actually sleep in the back.
Yeah.
So, and the width is pretty similar. I'm not sure the numbers, but I think the width is similar to the R1S. At least it feels that way from looking at it.
A little bit narrower, but pretty close. Yeah.
But I was worried then looking at this, like, well, what about the cannibalization from the R1S? And I'm like, but this is genuinely a 5-seater. Like, you can't get a 7-seat. So if you really have, like, our family has a couple extra kids. Or not extra. We have 2 kids. We have extra passengers, is what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, you need that 3rd row.
Yeah.
Especially if you're going to bring another 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th person, right? Whereas you can't do that with this, so that's where they differentiate. And I think that's a great move from Rivian. I really do.
Definitely. Yeah, it's gonna sell well, I think. And we're in Colorado, and we see R1 everywhere.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So R2 is gonna be everywhere. R3 might be. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
We still don't know when that's coming out, but that's like you said, the big surprise of the day. We all knew that was coming.
Right.
But then when they started moving it forward, I was like, oh boy,
like,
what else is coming out of there? And then
that was a genuine shock.
Yeah.
I think the whole crowd, like, what?
Yeah. Everyone was super ecstatic. This is a fun event. Like, what do you think of this event as a whole?
That's great. I came here kind of like not really knowing what to expect, but I'm having a lot of fun. Just like, hey, I'm excited about these Rivians again, right? Especially this X, man. This is super cool.
Yeah.
Like,
okay, found Forrest up in the balcony.
Hello.
What are your thoughts on R2?
I think because its most obvious competitor is going to be Tesla Model Y, it has to bring stuff to the table that is very standout. And I think it's very standout in the fact that it looks more premium. It has really cool practicality. So I think when you have an SUV, practicality is paramount.
Yeah.
Just the fact you can like fold the front seats down is epic. So like if I'm driving in the driver's seat, I want to fit something like, I don't know, what's like long, like some wood. Not most people probably wouldn't fit wood in there, but like, let's say it feels like a lawnmower or just a big box.
Surfboard.
Surfboard. Yeah. You can fold down the passenger seat and fit it all the way through, and then if it's still too long, you can roll down the rear window finally.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
That's a big deal, dude.
They're trying to stand out in ways which grabs attention.
The 2 glove boxes means there's just more space.
They were like, we heard you wanted a glove box, so here's 2, bro.
The fact that it'll have NACS.
Yeah.
So charge on Tesla Supercharger network. Huge deal. I think it's 10 to 80% in 30 minutes is what they're saying.
Yeah. So
over 300 miles of range, which is good. 0 to 60 it'll be their quickest car.
Yeah. Under 3 seconds. That's all they're saying. And that'll be, of course, the tri-motor version. We don't know what the 0 to 60 of dual motor. Like, we're working with a conglomerate of specs that'll go across all their different trims. But
I like the updated front headlight.
Yeah. It's got some depth to it.
It does. I remember thinking okay, eventually, when they do updates, they're gonna have to update this headlight because it'll get long in the tooth after a while.
Yeah.
And I always wondered how they would do that.
Yeah.
And it's cool that they just sort of like, it goes in more.
Yeah.
So it has like that more.
It just has more depth. The original one feels a bit plasticky now.
It does. This one's
kind of
way
like
more high
F-150
quality.
Lightning front light bar.
Yep.
It's just like, that'll be good.
No, it's great.
And it looks good up here, actually. Seen like through the roof. Yeah.
The scroll wheels are much nicer than like the plasticky buttons.
The new wheel. I can't wait to try that out.
What else, dude? Is there a Bluetooth speaker in this one?
No Bluetooth speaker.
Is there any space under there?
I don't know. I didn't see that, but they said they removed the Bluetooth speaker. That's a compromise.
And I'm also wondering if there's like those little storage cubbies under the seat, like R1S.
Oh, maybe. They stole the flashlight, and they have future accessories coming to fit that door spot, like a phone charging hand warmer.
Okay, that's cool.
Like a phone charger, battery pack, and hand warmer. So that is the only battery remaining from R1. All the other batteries are the new 4695 cells.
Yeah, dude.
So.
It should be pretty good off-road too, I assume.
Yeah.
I was looking it up, and 9.8 inches of ground clearance is 0.2 inches more than like a 4Runner TRD Pro, for reference.
And it's close to 4Runner size in a lot of ways, and the rear window goes down. So how many 4Runner owners are going to switch
like
to this?
electric 4Runner.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And this is the year for a new 4Runner, so
yeah,
we'll see. All right, well, of course, Patrick is here from the Mach-E vlog. You seem to be everywhere that I go.
That's right.
But in front of the R2, the face we all know, but then when you go around the side, and even look over the top of the roof, it's actually smaller. What are your thoughts on the R2?
You know, because some of the leaks and people were talking about it didn't seem like there was that much of a difference between a R1S and a R2S.
Yeah.
But seeing it in person, like it just has a smaller presence. It's getting down to be about a good size that I want, because we didn't want the R1S because it's too big for us.
Yeah, this feels approachable.
It feels really approachable. I mean, like
literally.
yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great size. I think it will be like the hot seller. Now, of course, R3 will be later. Maybe, hopefully not too much later. But I'm wondering if that will outsell this, or if this really is like the perfect size. Because it feels like Americans want big, but then when they see something too big, they're like, oh, no, not that big.
Well, it's interesting. We were just sort of talking about outside. It's like, I think a lot of people, there isn't a one size fits all.
Yeah.
For America, but there's also not a one size fits all for every family. So like us, we want one bigger, one smaller.
Agreed.
So I could see us doing like an R2 and an R3.
Yeah.
If we went that way, we're not getting rid of the Mach-E yet. Don't panic. But Liv loves the R3, but this looks like a great road tripper if you don't want the bigness of the R1S.
Exactly. Well, we'll see how it does, but we gotta wait 2 years unless they overpromise or overdeliver. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
And here's the other half of Mach-E vlog, Liv.
Hey, hello.
What do you think of the R2?
I mean, okay, I gotta be honest. We were excited about the R2. Patrick and I already decided we were gonna reserve the R2. And then the R3 came out, so I'm kind of like, who?
After
R2,
reservations already opened, so.
I know, that's how they get ya.
Yeah. So you can get both?
I don't even know if we get the R2. I mean, because I want a petite SUV. I had a 98 RAV4. I love that small body style. I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
And the R3, I mean, that might be a long wait though. So maybe we'll get an R2 to mosey it down the road.
Yeah.
But Rivian's moving in the right direction. I'm so excited. I think this is just so appealing to me and hopefully to a lot of other people because I want them to succeed.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
This is more accessible in so many ways. I mean, cheaper price.
Yeah.
And it's even I guess lower to the ground or can be. And so it's easier to get in and out of. The frunk is still not as easy to access as the F-150 Lightning. Of course, that mega power frunk is just something special.
Yeah, the flat slide-in thing is just so good.
And now Luce is doing that with a Gravity. So
yeah.
I don't know. Maybe Rivian will eventually do that, but otherwise, it's pretty compelling.
Yeah, but okay, so Lucid with the Gravity, they had the whole front knicking thing, right?
Yeah.
But on the back of the R2 and the R3, they have the when the rear window comes down, then there's a little table there.
Yep.
And then you can fold up the lower storage and you can sit on it. So that's actually more useful things. And I love how they thought about what they need for function and then how they can make it extra cool.
They're still thinking.
Started function.
Yeah, and I think more people would rather sit in the back than in the random frunk of a vehicle. Because in the back you have access to all your things, of course, car camping or whatever, laying down, taking a nap.
And you have shade as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You have shade in the front for
yeah,
itself.
yeah.
I feel like I'm gonna get munched.
Well, I can't wait. Just like you, I can't wait to get my hands on this thing. So we're gonna have some fun with it.
I can't wait.
Finally, a look at the interior, which includes the USB-C ports we all know and love in the headrests, and I think that might be a USB-C port on the door. I can't. Oh, it's a door release. Okay. Which on this side is just blacked out right now. This is clearly very pre-production. This does fold completely flat. You can see some storage back in there. That thing slides out, so it's kind of acting like a split tailgate design. You can still use it and put things on it. Maybe sit on it, not sure. And the big news of the day is that seat does fold flat. Both of these actually fold flat, which is pretty wild. I guess this basically pops out, which allows us to fold in, and the actual steering wheel can fold in out of the way. Which, by the way, that's the new updated look of the steering wheel with the wheels. The wheels on the steering wheel can be used from the front and rear. They can also be pushed kind of inwards and tilted. There's a lot of different functionality with that. Can't wait to dive into the software and stuff. We're actually not supposed to touch this or sit inside it right now. Some more USB-C ports right there. Not really seeing any. Oh yeah, rear heated seats. That's good. Okay. No rear cool seats. That would have been a really cool show-stopping thing. Looks like speakers up there. There are still speakers in the doors on the rear, but not in the doors in the front. Those are now gone, which is, I guess, another way to simplify things. But yeah, that's a good quick look at the inside. Nice panoramic roof, as everyone seems to love. So that's about it. Looks like the center does also split separately, so you could put like things through the middle, like a ski pass-through. And yeah, with everything folded down, this is a huge amount of space. I mean, you could car camp if you were 7 feet tall. It is just so chaotic, but a little bit less chaotic now. So I can show you a quick glimpse of the R3, which is this thing. It looks fantastic. And the R3X, which is my personal favorite, although it is, you know, a bit more concept-y if you ask me. So this is the one I would want eventually. I'm not gonna really focus on it because this is very early. I mean, you thought the R2 was pre-production early. This is like just a proof of concept, more or less. Although I think they will actually make it. Rivian seems to come through on their promises. But yeah, again, that interior is fantastic. I love the look and feel and vibe. And I hope they actually bring that to production, along with the orange accents. Not my favorite color orange. It's kind of like Toyota TRD orange, more or less, but it works. Here's the R3 again. Yeah. Oh, and there's a look at the NACS charge port. Finally, nice and slim, which on the R3 is just this little pod looking thing here. The R2, it's actually hidden right in there somehow. Here's the new wheels. Some of you guys know what you think of the new wheels. And yeah, all the light up things on the doors. So now we can look at the front a little bit closer and see, I don't know. Oh, I guess the headrests. Yeah, not sure where the headrest goes after you decapitate the seat from it. Maybe in the front. Try to give you guys a good look in here. There is no speaker in there now. That is just a tray, I guess, a storage tray. And it looks like no under-seat storage cavities like in the R1S and R1T. Slight bummer, but same displays that you all know and I think love. And I really love that steering wheel design. It's got to be one of my favorite steering wheel designs of all time. Here's the table that actually flips open, and so when the rear window is down, you can actually access this table, and there's a look at the back. Very nice, very spacious. And you got the little functional things here and there like before. Of course, some power back here, some USB-C ports, and the 110 outlet. That's pretty fantastic. The roof rails on all these things also seem to be interchangeable. The same locking system, and I believe they said the same exact bars can fit, so they are the same width apart from each other on the R3 as well as the R2. And as far as driver assistance goes, they're saying, I think 11 cameras, 5 radars, something like that. And they're saying, well, just like everyone else, fully autonomous capability eventually. We'll see if that actually happens or when. I guess I believe it probably will, just when. They said capability for hands-free and even eyes-free driving down the road. So I guess they have future-proofed the sensors enough. We'll find out. So this is kind of the overview now that's a little bit more cleared out than before when Talik and I were first walking through things. I apologize for the chaoticness of this video, but that is sometimes the out-of-spec way just to get things out there. But yeah, a lot to take in here. Really curious what you guys think. Oh, by the way, I think this is the headrest of the actual seat. Yes. So I don't know if there's an actual storage solution for that. They're still working out some of the details, some of the kinks with the R2, but I'm pretty excited. Kind of disappointed no one made an actual Star Wars joke. No R2-D2 comments. Maybe copyright prevents that. But it'd be really cool to see a R2 accessory, R2D2 accessory for the R2 somehow. Speaking of accessories, they have a lot of things planned for this truck. Like I mentioned with Forest, you know, they're doing the little pop-out thing with the flashlight in the door. That is going to stay. Well, with R3 as well, the flashlight in the door. I guess they're really proud of that. Which is the old battery cell. That's actually the one from the R1. So that's now the only old battery cell, I guess. Now they all have the new cells. They said they're gonna have more things that can be using that door slot, like a hand warmer or a portable phone charger, I guess. Interesting. It'd be cool if they eventually put like an umbrella in there, made it a little bit deeper of a slot. I don't know if that would impede on window space, but yeah. The rear windows, by the way, do roll all the way down. That's what they have said and indicated. The painted C-pillar, just nice and thick. And I'm super thrilled that the rear windows do vent. The whole back window rolls down. Just a lot of great attention to detail things that I'm very excited to try. I think this is a true Colorado ready vehicle. I think they're going to sell like crazy in Colorado. Would you guys buy one? Curious what you think of this versus 4Runner, this versus Tesla. I mean, there's a whole lot of this versus that comparisons that can be made. We're looking forward to getting our hands on this to do all the nerdy out of spec testing. You know, they couldn't share much detail about any other specifications. How's the 0 to 60 on the base model, the dual motor or rear single motor if they have that. We don't know anything about charging, nothing. They've just given us basically a concept car with some high level stuff. I'd say a bit more than a normal concept car, but still not as much as we like to see necessarily. But that being said, let us know what your thoughts are of the R2, and while you're at it, the R3 and the R3X. Huge thanks to everyone who shared their thoughts. These events are a lot of fun. It's great to catch up with people. And it's also great to always get input from everyone else. I always want to know, what do you think? So let us know what you think. We'll see you guys in another video very soon, and we'll see this hopefully before 2 years, but gosh, if we have to wait 2 years, the landscape's going to change quite a bit.